Hello, good people, and welcome back. So, this is what is in the news. A recap. I told you in the morning or yesterday that the Nicaraguan president is saying that they are not going to be having general elections from now and henceforth. So, it means that he's going to be a forever president. This comes after he has been sharing his presidency or his power with his wife. So, it means that even if he dies today, his wife is going to take over from him unless now the wife goes before him. So he's planning to rule forever, and he's saying that now another power now he has given it to the parliament. Now, unless the parliament intervenes and changes everything so that they can be having frequent elections, Nicaragua will not be having elections. He has been accusing the US of interfering in the elections. First, he has been jailing his opponents who seem to be a threat to him. So he has been denying them a chance, as we saw with our neighbors. I will not mention them. So let us watch the face. I don't know how much is this going to last because it's so old, so it might not last long. In the other news, we can see that the tariff between the US and Canada could be met with a fierce reaction from the Canadians because after now Trump slapped everyone with tariffs in the beginning of this year or later last year. Only two countries reiterated his tariffs, that is the China and the Canada. So Trump might have been upset by the darling country, the Canadians, asking himself, how can they reiterate against me? Why can they just push back the tariffs towards me? And when I put the tariffs, I mean that we are the only one who should be charging them. So he was mad as hell, according to him, or he was mad towards them, and that's why maybe he's not planning to increase more tariffs on them. He's saying that the Canadians have been discriminating the American products, and now according to the American Tariff Act of 1938, it means that anyone who contravenes or who discriminates in American products is liable or it should be slapped with tariffs so that now they can balance the trade. Let us see how it works, because he has tried it with Chinese. The Chinese were just like, let us go, man. Whatever amount you add, whatever percentage you add on us, you're just going to be placing it on your kinda. They had up to around 150% of tariffs, and that's why Trump opened his eyes and said, we cannot keep going on this now. He calmed down, he talked to the Chinese president and the Chinese people, and they told him, we are ready when you want. We can go back to where we were before you started all this nonsense. And within no time, Trump cooled down and everything went back to normal. Towards the China, there is the China South Sea, the South China, the South China Sea. South China Sea, just like the Indian Ocean, which we share with Tanzania, Somalia. Yes. So these are a part of international water, international water body that is shared within different countries. So the Philippines and Chinese have been fighting for this water body. So yesterday, July 20th, they met and they started fighting. This was not a fierce fight whereby they were shooting at each other. It's not like another fight where they were shooting each other with water cannons. No, this one was just like the pillow fight, where you just throw a pillow to your friend and he throws back to you. So they were fighting with paddles and batons. So it was not a fierce fight, but that's something to watch, because these are contested water, and it might cause a lot of trouble to many people. Now, back to our local politics. We heard that our president today announced that from today he's going to be offering 100% free education to everyone who qualifies to go to college or university. This raises a lot of questions. First, now the Minister of Education is saying that they have a deficit of around 11 billion to fund the free primary secondary education. Now you want to add tertiary education. Now the question goes, where is he going to get all this money? Because, for instance, if he was to burden himself on adding free tertiary education, he will be required to be contributing around 1 trillion in every annual budget for the education, only education itself. So this means that on on the 4 trillion that we are on the 4 trillion that we expect to be collecting, or the budget that we made of 4 trillion for this year, it means that we are going to be spending 1+ trillion financing education alone. So this list raises a lot of questions. First, where instead of just finding this 11 billion to balance the need or the financial discrepancies that are there, is now increasing more debts. Or maybe is he talking that so that he can seduce more youth, so that they can be like, oh, this is our darling, he's listening to us. We complained about education being expensive, now he has heard, so we should consider him come 2027. Is it so? I don't know. No, looking on other avenues, and since this is just our policy that he has proposed to the parliament, so it is upon the parliament for the policy to go through the first reading, second reading, third reading. It might be corrected a lot, and many people are going to be asking a lot of questions. Where is this money going to come from? When you look at the amount of money that Kenyan people, the Kenyan taxpayers, contribute towards the budget or towards the country's kitty, it turns around roughly 3 trillion on the upper end, or 2.5 trillion on the lower end. So that means that if we are going to be contributing around 1 trillion for education, this is going to increase the burden on the budget. So are we really capable to do that? Or is he drawing now this is he drawing Ngori to the parliament? Because if he takes this policy or this proposal to the parliament, and now after some time the parliament says now this one cannot be done, or if it is done, it is going now to upset everything that we believe in, or everything that we all do, or everything that can work. Because once he add all this amount, it's not going to work. When now he comes back to the citizens, he's going to say, now you see, I took this budget to the parliament looked at it, it said that it cannot work. So you see, I was willing to finance education to the tertiary education, but looking at the reality of the things that are happening around the country, no, that one cannot happen or cannot work. Do you think that is a good idea? So let us look at the history of the Kenya's education and how it has been financed. I don't know much about before Kibaki, but before Kibaki I was in nursery school. That is in 2001, 2002, 2003 I was in class 1. So for those who do mathematics can see it. So during the more time you are going to school, everything that you had to have in school, you are paying for. Going to school, buying books, buying pens, even paying some shillings for the teachers. So everything was paid for by the people. Then come 2003 when Kibaki went to power, you are now introduced free primary education. You are given books, you are given everything. So you are using your book. When your book fills up, you take it to the teacher marks it, punches it maybe, or tears it apart so that you not go back for another one. You are given another new book. You are told you should not plug some pages. So the education was doing very well during the Kibaki's first time. So it started shaking during the Kibaki's second time. I don't know what happened. I think the burden became too huge for him to accommodate people. So it started shaking, and people now started being asked, now you can bring 10 shillings for your remedios. Come with 20 shillings for your remedios. The teachers want to do this, come with 100 shillings. So it started accumulating. When you went to high school, in high school you pay some tuition fee, some amount is catered for by the government. I think in our time they were catering around, if not 11,000, 12,000 or 20 or 21 or 22,000 per term. I think something like that. But you are paying little money that we could have paid if you were to study during the moist time. Then come to college. We went to college using HELB, whereby HELB used to pay to give you the accommodation money for your upkeep according to your situation. If you have 2 parents, you are given the minimum that was around 13,000. If you have 1 parent, around 18,000. If you are a total orphan, you are given around 26,000 per semester, so that you can contain and live a just natural life in the college. Then after that, when now Ruto came in, and looked at the now education funding model, and the universities now at that time they started crying that the funding model is not working and that they are accumulating a lot of debts, and they do not know they are going to pay it, because first, when people come out of college and they do not get employment, they do not pay back the help. So when the help now sends people to school and they give them money for upkeep, help should keep the rest of the money to the school. Now, let us say, for instance, for someone whose father earns 1 million, for someone whose father earns 10,000, these people were supposed to be paying the similar amount of money. So everyone, help was an equalizer. Everyone was supposed to be paying equal amount of money. So now comes Ruto. Ruto looks at that policy or that formula and says that now this one is burdening the poor people and giving the rich people an easy way to go through it. So what are we going to do? We are going to look at the courses. We determine the cost. If your course is expensive, you're going to be paying more. If your course is cheaper, you're going to be paying cheaper. And also you're going to be looking at how people are earning. That is, if your parent earns more money, you'll be obligated to pay more money, and if your parents is poor or you do not have parents, you are mandated to pay little. That's why it came with the categories, the classes and everything, whereby there are people who are paying 5,000 to 0, others are paying 10 to 5, others are paying 20, also depending on how much your parents are capable of paying, and the rest of the money that the government now is paying for you, it becomes a debt for you immediately you leave the school. And now people complained a lot. They are saying that it is not working. I think now Ruto looked at it and said, oh, you people are complaining about it now. It is the right time when I'm campaigning now. He looked at how he was campaigning in El Kalau. If you can look at the tactics that he was using in El Kalau, drilling them boreholes, making barabaras, reviving the railway, so that now they can start moving their goods through the rail, and doing a lot of things in El Kalau, but he did not give. So now he comes again and says, oh, now this one, it is time for me now to play other cards that I have in my hand. So he says that now I'm going to give people now free tertiary education. So when you pass from high school and you pass well and you get grades that can now propel you to college or to higher education, you're going to be getting free education. Do you know what this means? This means that if you get this free education, all the money that the government has paid for you becomes a loan. And according to his proposal, it says that the money that you're given, you'll be able to pay it, but you'll only be mandated to pay it if you get a job, employment, post higher education. So it means that it's not promising you a job. You can study all you want, but you're not promised a job. So don't come disturbing the government. Don't come asking the government for employment. Another one he's saying is that the government has a lot of money that it can contribute to free tertiary education for its people, and whether they are going to pay or not, that's another thing. It's a whole case totally, and we can discuss about that later. So what do you guys think? Do you think that free tertiary education will be achievable? And how much burden do you think it is going to lay on the Kenya's budget and Kenya's taxpayers? Let us discuss that. I know you people can discuss things, so let us do it. Again, I was looking at news and I saw that the parking fees for Nairobi is going to come from 300 plus shillings to around 500 plus. That's just the Nairobi government telling you that that 300 you're giving is not giving. It's not enough. It's not enough for you to enable us to promise you a proper parking or a safe parking for your vehicle. So you have to increase the amount of parking fees to around 500. So let us see how that goes. In other news, I'm going to go through so many things that have gone around today, and some things that are revealing themselves to us is that Jubilee's Assistant Secretary General Pauline Cherargei has migrated from Jubilee, and she has joined Linda Mwananchi. Linda Mwananchi is a very familiar name if you look at it in the Kenyan's current political context, because when you look at people like the Murang'a governor Irungu Kang'ata, he moved from UDA into Linda Mwananchi. Now that is Pauline Cherargei coming from Jubilee into Linda Mwananchi. And I know so many people who are sitting on the fence who do not want to be called lukewarm. So who do not want to be insulted for just being nowhere in the political arena, they are just going to be joining Linda Mwananchi, because Linda Mwananchi is not a formally registered political party, so it cannot hold you accountable for whatever action you are going to take immediately after you make up your mind and you want to go to another party. So Linda Mwananchi is like how do I call it? Just like holding bay. Yeah, before you transfer now to your final home or your final destination, this is a place whereby you can now try and measure how people are going to be taking you going forward. So this is Pauline Cherargei coming to Linda Mwananchi. I think she's going now to be measuring the airwaves in Mount Kenya and Nairobi to see how people are responding to our movement and to see if people even notice, because politics is a game of statistics and numbers and listening to the ground. So if she can feel that the people are responding rightly or the right way for her towards her movement from Jubilee now to Linda Mwananchi, now she can decide where she's now going to reside now for the rest of the political time of the campaign period, because now we are almost going to the campaign period entirely. In the Linda Mwananchi do not have a lot of money, so they're asking Kenyans to contribute. Even if you are going to be contributing 10 shillings, 100, they are saying that they do not want a lot of money, but they need money for them to be moving around from one place to another, selling their manifesto, telling their people, meeting their people, meet and greet, just selling their manifesto. So if you have money, you can contribute to them. Please go to their pay bill. Sifuna gave the pay bill and said that people should contribute. When Sifuna came up with the pay bill, so many people are feeling like now that should not be working. So I told him that you should stop disturbing people. You cannot be asking people to give you money and then you expect them to give you votes. He told them these people are not going to give you a lot of money, but for me, I can even give you 1 billion shillings on a go, and that will be my little gift to you, my child, so that you can campaign politely and you can go and campaign without feeling the pain in the pocket. But Sifuna responded by saying that he does not want money from one person, because once someone gives you something, it's like they are betting on you, or it's like they are giving you a mandate, or it's like they are buying you out. So if you do not reiterate or give back to what they have given you, at some point they might say that now you want our money back, or if you get the target that you are hitting, these are the people who are going to be determining the rules of the game. So you say that you better get the money from Mwananchi and then do whatever the Mwananchi wants, instead of getting money from one cartel and also expecting the cartel to be commanding him on what to do. Another thing is about Ruto is threatening the goons. I don't know whether his threats are really powerful or even I'm going to make any change, but he's saying that the goons who are walking around threatening people's peace or even attacking people in rallies, they are going to be taken care of. He has directed the DCI to take action and also control the goons. Let us see how that unfolds. I don't know. Also, for the people whose certificates have been collecting dust in schools because they could not afford the school fees balances that they left in schools, the NEC has come up with the several steps on how they are going to retrieve your KCP certificate through your e-citizen. So if you have e-citizen, you can go to the online and read, or now you can now go into e-citizen. But first you have to enter e-citizen. Do not follow links. Do not click links and try to follow them to collect your KCSE certificate. Otherwise, you're going to meet the sharp boys, and you know what sharp boys do? They collect their taxes before people realize what is happening. Also, be alert on that. On the other news, we can see that together with Sifuna, also Cherargei, the senator of I think Senator of Kericho, is telling Sifuna the same. He's telling him that you cannot ask people for money and also ask people to give you your vote. So what do you think Sifuna should do? Is he doing the wise thing? Is he doing the right thing, asking people to contribute to his cause, or is he overreaching? let us discuss. On the other hand, today we saw Mr. Ruto meeting the music production companies, that is the Warner Bros. Music, the Sony Music. He met with those music production companies, and they are discussing on how they are going to establish the offices in Nairobi. As you know, it is said that Nairobi now it is the hottest spot in Africa, whereby when people from abroad want to enter into Africa, they have to establish themselves in Nairobi first, and they can trespass towards the other African countries. Before I move from the international linkage between Africa and the other world, yesterday I was watching news and I heard that the USA is trying to venture into Africa. They said that currently they are supplying their products to Africa. The supply of their products to Africa is less than 1%. You can think about it. The America started the United States of America does not supply the whole of Africa with more than 1% of their trade products. So that means that's how much America despises Africa, or sees Africa as unable to purchase anything. So they are like, you guys cannot purchase our product, so you are not our target market. Their largest target market is Canada and Mexico. So now when they start fighting those just their immediate neighbors and their largest trade partners, they start feeling the heat. So they start looking at the place where they can dump their products. So Africa becomes now the next market. When you look at the demography of the Africa, the number of people that the Africa is going to have now going towards 2050, you're going to be having more than 2.5 billion just African population, young, energetic, collecting money from all over, because now Africans are going to be working everywhere in the world and bring money back to Africa. So these are now the markets that they are going to be targeting, and now they want to venture into Africa. I was looking at the statistics when I heard them saying that they are supplying less than 1% of their products to Africa, and I saw China is supplying between 5 to 6%, which is a huge which makes Africa a huge market for Chinese products. So maybe USA is also trying to compete with China to see if they can capture the African market. You saw when the China started mining African minerals, the USA got jealous and said, oh, you guys are going to finish our products, are going to finish the minerals. We are not getting the rare earth from Africa. So the USA now approached the countries like the Congo, the Rwanda. They approached the Sahel. The Sahel were like, hell no, you're not going to come to our country. They came to Kenya, South Africa. They're just like fighting everyone in Africa, trying to get in, offering some money for health, and now you have to give your minerals to the Americans as a guarantee, or just something like that. So something they can hold on to when they are giving you this money. I don't know. Let us see how that fight goes. Then on the other side, I listened on Linda Mwananchi. We can see that Tim Wanyonyi has joined Linda Mwananchi on the course towards achieving. Sorry. Tim Wanyonyi is the Member of Parliament for Westlands, so he has joined Linda Mwananchi towards pushing Sifuna to become the presidential candidate. I have told you that Linda Mwananchi is one of the parties, or just a place where they are going to be holding themselves before they can decide where they are going. So let us see how that is going to unfold. On the other hand, today Bwana Ruto has made some reshuffles in his operations, or in his team, taking Bwana Isaac Mwaura from being spokesperson in the State House and installing Charles Owino, the government spokesperson. He has transferred Isaac Mwaura to the He has transferred Isaac Mwaura to the Office of Diversity, Inclusion and Disability Rights. He has also appointed Mary Kilobi Atuoli to the Intergovernmental Relations Technical Committee representing Nairobi. So Mary Kilobi is the spouse to Atuoli. You know how Atuoli has been speaking highly of Ruto. So when you praise your masters, they have to give something back for you so that you can hold on to it and maybe benefit from it. So maybe that is one thing that informed that decision. Lastly, he appointed Wilson Sossion into TSC. The history of Sossion and the teachers is very, very vivid in the memories of the millennials, people who grew under the Sossion when he was I think he was the TSC cabinet secretary. You can know how much fierce he was. When he called for Mgomo, the government could listen. So maybe him being placed there, he understands better the insides of how the teachers are suffering, and maybe he can talk on their behalf and the teachers can be respected again. So roughly that is much about what's been happening over the day. The last thing that I would like to touch a little bit is about the Ojwang's case, whereby you are seeing CCTVs linking the police. So the police know what happened to Ojwang, so if they can be held accountable, maybe the police who are shooting on the streets and others who are just acting recklessly can be contained, and you see a reform or better operation in our police forces. Otherwise, see you in the next news.